In order, clerk call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Here.
Trustee Garvey.
Here.
Trustee Zalick.
Here.
Trustee Geezer.
Here.
Trustee Fruzaloni. Trustee McCarthy.
Here.
Mayor Savarino.
Here. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our December 6, 2021 Village Board meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Zalick. Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Garvey.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve but not release the executive session minutes of our December 6, 2021 Village Board meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee
Garvey.
seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Garvey.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Under listening posts, we will now turn this over to trustee Geezer, who has the holiday house decorating contest winners.
Well, the holiday season is now over, and we can announce we can recognize the winners of the holiday competitions. We announced them on Facebook, and if you drove around, you saw the Public Works Department put up a sign in front of each of the houses. We have three winners. One of the families are here today, so I'll announce the winners that are not here, and then we can introduce the folks that are here. And then we'll ask them a question or two and give them their certificates. And we'll make sure that the residents who aren't here receive their certificates. The winner for judge's favorite, that's generally the top dog prize. That goes to the, I wish they were here because I'm going to mispronounce their name. So if anyone up here knows how to pronounce their name, please let me know. The Dranzarek family at 522 Hiawatha, just around the corner from here at Hiawatha, and Illini right across from the middle school. They are the winners of the judge's favorite. We'll make sure they get their award. For Frosty's favorite, which is basically the kid's favorite, the most kid-friendly, that goes to the Retberg family at 502 Heather Lane, again, in this neighborhood, just up Hiawatha and turn left onto Heather. They make their own cutouts, and they're all over the yard. And they did a terrific job, so congratulations to the Retberg family at 502 Heather Lane. And the winner for the big snowball is the Derrico family. Did I pronounce that right, Derrico? Dorico, that's what I said, Dorico. We'll fix this in editing. At 882 Waco Drive. So please, come on up. I see we've got some little holiday engineers as well.
Decorators.
You ran the elf over.
Come on up. You can come on up to the mic there. And congratulations, and tell us a little bit about, for if some people either here up on the board or are watching on TV, didn't see your decorations. What were you trying to accomplish?
Just we have a really high roof, so we use a lot more projector lights than we do regular Christmas lights. Although I was in roofing for a while, but still, it's I don't like going up there too high. But yeah, just a lot of projection lights. It originally started with more of a princess under this, like you were saying, under the sea theme, with the more blues and greens.
Well, I was telling him as I would drive by with my wife, she was like, oh, it's like we're we're like the Little Mermaid. It's like we're under the sea.
Yeah, so all the kiddos had a little bit of a hand in there with helping stuff out. I just wish it had been a white Christmas, though, you know. Some of the effects
white
would have been,
January.
some of the effects would have been a little bit better, but, no, it's just fun. This is the first year we decided to enter, so we'll continue to do so. So now we just gotta buy some more stuff for next year and continue to.
Well, excellent. Well.
Congratulations. Well, very well
anybody else
done, and
wanna-
thank
wanna
you.
say anything?
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Good job, buddy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly, certainly. What school do you guys go to?
Evergreen.
Oh, that's a good school.
One of our favorites.
That's where my kids went. And that's where trustee Zalix.
If we can talk about this Borderlands one of these days, maybe. I don't know how it goes through my yard exactly, but.
Exactly. Well, come on up. Why don't you, if you're willing, why don't we take a picture with you, with all of you?
Absolutely.
Would it be better with the kids to have them stand up there so they can be seen?
Oh,
Or
that's right.
have
May
them,
not be seen otherwise.
have them sit on the
We'll
desk?
have them sit right up here.
Whatever you'd like. Oh, and here's that from you.
I think they'll be fine if they stand.
Yeah, they can.
But you gotta face the camera.
Just look at me. I'm going to do a quick count. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody smiling?
Holidays. We'll do one more.
Ah,
1, 2, 3.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I'd also like to thank the judges for this year's competition. They were Jim Slinker. Most of us know who Jim is. He operates the Canyon Trail, 371 Canyon Trail. He many years ago said, I don't want to be judged for the house. I just want to be a judge, so we welcome him. Also, Rudy Vanderbeest, who he has a great big display over the lights on Easton. He's the same thought process. So
Even brought Santa to his
and
this
he
year.
had Santa there as well. He would have had some elves there as well, but you know, things go on in the world. So
Right.
the elves weren't able to make it this time. Also would like to thank the village staff, Denise Kalki for helping wrangle all the emails that came in, Tia Messino for being the conduit between the website, making sure everything's up on the website, our IT department, and of course, our Public Works Department for getting the signs up. And one resident sent me a note and thanked us for doing it, thanked us, this is us, you know, that this was something that they really were really happy that the village did and will, and does, because it helps them as a family to create memories. They like to go on, they especially like the newer, the last couple of years, how we do the
Map.
GIS
Yeah,
map.
love the map.
So people are able to go around and see all the beautiful houses. So thank you, this is a team effort, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you, and thank you again for doing it. You did a wonderful job again this year on the Halloween and Christmas.
Well,
Appreciate it. Thank
start thinking of Halloween.
you. With the July.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tia, do we have any addresses from the audience?
We have no electronic public comments.
None, okay. Is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Berger. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Garby.
Aye.
Trustee Zalek.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent agenda?
Certainly. Get this mask off my earring. Okay. Board and Commission reports. Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals. Village of Carroll Stream, 500 North Geary Avenue, zoning text amendment, Unified Development Ordinance, UDO, miscellaneous modifications. Recommend approval 6-0.
Yes.
Yes.
ER2 Image Group, Pregis, 455 East North Avenue Corridor Review, new monument sign. Approved with conditions 6-0, no village board action necessary. Staff reports and recommendations. Strategic Plan 2022 to 2024. Staff seeks consensus of the village board on which items to focus in the coming years and which items could be removed for future consideration.
Staff requests that that be taken off.
That's off.
Yes.
Okay, that has been pulled off the consent agenda. Purchase and delivery of ERTs from United Systems in an amount not to exceed $33,950 pursuant to the provisions of Sections 5-8-3B and 5-8-14C of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Purchase and delivery of AMR registers from Midwest Meter, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $34,100 pursuant to the provisions of Sections 5-8-3B and 5-8-14C of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Quick question, Phil. These are both being ordered by the same, oh, no, different places? I said those are, the registers and the meters are from two different places? Okay, never mind.
Could be available all in one piece,
Right.
not anymore.
Okay, never mind.
Metropolitan Alliance of Police contract ratification. This 4-year labor contract between the village and MAP, representing the village's police sergeants, provides terms and conditions for wages and clothing allowance.
Yes.
Yes.
Recommendation to fund the Klein Creek Stream Bank Stabilization, Sections 1 and 3 construction, entirely from grants in the Capital Projects Fund with no homeowner contribution.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ordinances. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by decreasing the number of Class P liquor licenses from 8 to 7. V and SP Corporation doing business as 711, 33408C, 550 West Army Trail Road.
Yes. Yes.
That is ordinance number 2022-01-01. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by increasing the number of Class F liquor licenses from 8 to 9. Carroll Stream Cherry LLC doing business as Corned Beef Factory, Carroll Stream, 27W 218 North Avenue.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2022-01-02. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by decreasing the number of Class A liquor licenses from 15 to 14. Tacoma Taco and Enchilada Grill Incorporated, doing business as Tacoma Taco and Enchilada Grill, 105 Stark Drive.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2022-01-03. Ordinance amending Chapter 16 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances, Unified Development Ordinance, miscellaneous modifications.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2022-01-04. Resolutions. Resolution amending Resolution number 3183, adopting the 2021 to 22 employee compensation plan for the Village of Carroll Stream, eliminating the management analyst position in the Public Works Department and creating an Assistant Director of Public Works position.
Yes.
Yes.
That is Resolution number 3229. Resolution endorsing the Legislative Action Program of the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference for the 2022 legislative session.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That is Resolution number 3230. New business. Appointment of Gabriel Murcia to the Board of Fire and Police Commission with a term expiring April 30th, 2022.
Yes.
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 American Legion Post 76, approval of their 2022 annual raffle license and waiver of the manager's fidelity bond for their weekly raffles held at 570 South Gary Avenue.
Yes.
Yes.
Payment of bills. Regular bills, December 7th, 2021 through December 20th, 2021.
Yes.
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 Addendum warrants, December 7th, 2021 through December 20th, 2021.
Yes.
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 Regular bills, December 21st, 2021 through January 3rd, 2022.
Yes.
Yes.
Addendum warrants, December 21st, 2021 through January 3rd, 2022.
Yes.
Treasurer's report. Revenue, expenditure statements, and balance sheet for the month ended November 30th, 2021.
Received.
And that concludes the items on the consent agenda.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
By trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Garvey. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Garvey.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve those items by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Geezer, seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Berger.
Aye. Trustee
Garvey.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Okay, we have a swearing in to do here.
Yes.
This is your copy. You'll have to sign that when we're done. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gabriel Murcia,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America.
do solemnly swear to uphold, oh, it's on here,
Let's wait.
in the Constitution of the United States of America,
The Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
and that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
and that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
the duties of Commissioner on the Board of Fire and Police Commission,
the duties of Commissioner on the Board of Fire and Police Commission.
dated at Carroll Stream, Illinois, this 3rd day of January 2022. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
You keep that one.
Okay.
You can sign yours too. Like to say a few words?
Sure.
Absolutely.
And what is it? Just like
Oh
a,
my God, come on, these are special.
oh my,
It's
it's like a electronic
old
signature?
school, you gotta turn it. Good. Well, it's all yours. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody for accepting me and appointing me onto the commission. My gratitude to everybody that's on the board. I do see some familiar faces here. Also, a special thanks to Chief Homer for interviewing me and allowing me to be a part of this. And also to Mr. Briggs for allowing me to, recognizing me from the community to do this. I've been a resident of Carroll Stream for the past 18 years. I have 2 kids. One goes to J Street Middle School, and the other is a sophomore at Glenbar North. I've been an active coach in all of my baseball and softball activities with my kids, and done a number of numerous things throughout my career here, and looking forward to being a part of this commission and helping out the community.
Well, welcome aboard, and thank you very much for giving your time to do this. It's an important job, and it's good that we have good people who are willing to step up to do it, so thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody have any questions for our new commissioner?
I don't have a question, but I served on the Board of Fire and Police Commissioner, and when you hear it, you go, well, what is that? It's very, very important. Oh, and so did you.
I did too,
Mr.
yeah.
Garvey. A very important position, because you're hiring and interviewing the folks that are going to be serving and protecting your children, our children, in this community. And so always keep that in mind as you serve in this role.
Absolutely. Be an honor.
And thank you for stepping up. You come highly recommended by the people that suggested to you come on the board, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very humbled by that.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So do we have to circle back to the, where did I hear that? Circle back. I don't like that. Forget about it. That was a mistake. We're
pivoting.
Circling back.
We're pivoting.
Because we know what we're doing. The strategic plan. We talk about that now?
Yes, we can. I will start it off. What is customary that we do after a new board is sworn in, we like to have a strategic planning session with the new board, just to go over goals and priorities for the coming year. We did that back in September of last year, 2021, with the help of a facilitator. And in that goal-setting session, the staff worked with the village board to come up with some goals and priorities for the coming years. Joe Carey, the assistant village manager, prepared a memo to the board, which is included in the village board's packet, and I will let him explain the contents of that memo.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Your Honor, members of the board. As you indicated, the memo, including your packet, as well as the document thereafter, which is about 23 pages. We're not planning to go through all of that this evening. We really want to talk at a high level and then engage with you on specific areas that you may find of interest. So as Bob mentioned, in September, we had a goal-setting workshop where 6 priority areas and over 33 projects were identified as areas to work on in the coming years. This evening, what we're primarily searching for from the board is really the 3 main items. What projects we should be prioritizing for the next fiscal year, which projects, if any, we should not pursue, and lastly, what projects do we need to do additional research on? And by research, I mean, more what's the cost going to be, what additional resources may be required. And the vast majority of items in the over 30 projects in here really fall under that category. And so really no decision needs to be made on those items this evening. We're primarily focused on what items need to be looked at as a priority for this coming fiscal year, but then also what projects may be items that the board is not interested in pursuing, in which case we won't spend any more additional staff time looking at those items. At a high level, these were broken down into 6 main goals. The first item being communications and thinking imaginatively. Those items really involve increased social media and engagement with our community groups, whether it's seniors or our many diverse populations, as well as the increased utilization of the town center, whether through special events or through infrastructure repairs or additional improvements. So to that end, this coming fiscal year, right now, we're doubling our special events budget, and we're putting significant dollars into repairing the fountain. Another item under Goal 2 is economic and community development. We're looking at including money in our budget for a market study that will assess our place in the market for retail and commercial properties, and to get an outsider to come in and really explain to us what works, what we can market ourselves as, and give us an opportunity.
I have a quick question on that one. Sorry to stop. Don, didn't we do something like that a few years back?
We actually had a retail market study for the entire village done in 2002. I don't
Okay.
know if you're thinking back that far or not. I did, Joe and I spoke a little bit. I did reach out to the same consultant group that did that study for us, and I do have a proposal for that, and that's something that we're going to be talking about in the departmental budget review meetings here coming up actually later this week. It really would just kind of give us a better sense of, for our remaining properties in Carroll Stream that are available for retail development, what is the market, what's out there in the market that is likely to be interested in coming to those properties? What would we like to see as a community? And then maybe where there's some overlap, it would help us kind of fine tune and focus in on what our approach should be. That's kind of the idea behind that. Okay. We think we have a pretty good idea what's going on in town and who wants to be here and who doesn't, but, there are people that specialize in this kind of work, and
That's kind of where I was going with that. I think you guys got a pretty good pulse. I just hate the idea of spending too much money on somebody to come in and tell you what you already know, which.
certainly something that we can talk about further.
Right.
Well, and I was going to ask about this as well. As the nature of retail changes and a lot of it's becoming online retail, will this study, or are you planning on having them look into how the village can attract or identify future online retailers that would be bringing us potential tax dollars?
Are you talking about like retailers that have strictly an online presence?
Strictly online. and/or businesses that are like maybe perhaps business to, or whatever, but where they don't have a brick and mortar store, they have a building here, but you can't go up and buy.
I'm not sure if that was included in the scope of the proposal I received necessarily, but that's a kind of a whole separate, I mean, we're thinking about our high visibility, retail properties that are left, Gary and Lee's and County Farm and North Avenue and some of the outlots left
Yeah.
up in the Heritage Plaza and things like that. But certainly, I can ask the consultant some more questions and see if that would be something that they would undertake as well.
Any other questions so far? Nothing? Okay.
Another area within economic and community development was looking at video game licensing for businesses that have under 50% of food sales. So that's something that I know has been talked about. We're looking at kind of various proposals, but that's something that we would be looking at in the future. Switching gears to human resources, one of the two main items is looking at implementing an employee wellness program, as well as really diving deep into ways to attract, recruit, and retain village employees. And that's stuff that we're already doing, but something that we certainly want to continue to work on and make that a priority. In addition, goal number 4 under governance and finance, the two main topics are how we appropriate funds towards ARPA eligible projects. Those are the federal funds that we've received, or those over $5 million, and those are projects that need to be completed or at least funds directed towards by 2026. So those are things that are definitely on our radar and things that we're working through. I know the village board has previously kind of give us direction as to certain projects that we want to focus on, and those are things that obviously we want to bring back to the board as part of this coming budget process. Another topic of discussion is looking at a policy guidance on the amount and the role of property taxes on village operations. So making sure that we're continuing to hold the line on property taxes while also being forward-thinking in ensuring that we have a stable revenue base to sustain ourselves through sales tax upheavals or global pandemics. Two other goals, one involving technology. That's with looking at how to manage the growing technology costs, making sure the board is aware of all the programs and softwares we currently manage and run, and also give you a better understanding of what we're doing to maintain and manage those costs. We're also looking at opportunities to improve online services through data transparency, and also ways to improve our cybersecurity to make sure that we protect our village assets, because certainly technology is a major one, and there's no signs of that ever going away. So we want to make sure we protect that as best as possible. Last but not least, involves engineering, public works, and police, and that really involves looking at a structural review of the departments and making sure that the facility and the utility infrastructures within the village itself as a whole meet our long-term capital needs, both similar to what we've done here with the new municipal center, making sure that our properties are functional and operational for what we need now, but also going into the future. And that's not just village assets, but that's just our community assets, ensuring our roads and everything else run and works well, and we maintain properly, because as we all know, the village is getting older, and with that comes increased capital costs, and that goes back to maintaining appropriate revenue streams, ensuring that we have the appropriate funding to protect that, especially in light of the interest in maintaining no debt on the village. So that's a very high-level overview. Again, I didn't want to go through all 33 projects, but what we're primarily looking at is, again, what projects we should prioritize in the next fiscal year, projects we might consider not pursuing, and then what other projects may need additional research in terms of what the dollar amount might be associated, because that may change exactly how much we want to pursue that. Also included in the packet is a list of over 30 projects. Some of them have expected completion dates. You might note that some of them are already ongoing. Others have a date of fiscal year 2024, and that's in recognition of potentially those items not being as high of a priority as some others are. As I said before, special events is definitely one that we've taken a hard look at, and that's something that we have some materials that we're already kind of prepared some preliminary events that we would look to do for this coming summer that we hope would address some of the issues or interests that the board members had about engaging with the community.
Well, I think your broad brush, you know, the 6 goals, so the, what, 18 items or what? I think they all fall into the priority. I think we all kind of liked the idea of that group of them. Again, broad brush, I get that very high level. But I don't see any that I'd want to put off.
Well, and I thought the expected completion dates, in a lot of cases, you know, the thing that you're asking us is, you know, what can be delayed. There, a lot of them are already delayed. You know, you've already, unless that was done on purpose to try to stagger things so there was money involved. But
You know, we want to be realistic while also maintaining, you know, idea that we have limited staff and resources, so that we want to make sure that whatever we look to accomplish, we can do so successfully.
Well, and then I just noticed in a bunch of it, and some of us had talked about that during the strategic planning session, is that a lot of the things we come up with and talk about are things we have to do. We have to work on succession planning. We have to make sure we are proper stewards of the resources. We have to make sure our IT needs are met, and you know, we just have to try to figure out, you know, we don't have to like the fact that things are going up in price, but we just have to recognize that they are going up in price. We have to realize that there's bad actors who are going to be trying to capture our data and capture our resources electronically. So I think it's a pretty, I think there's some very important things that we really need to concentrate on.
Well, like you said, I think there's difference between needs and wants.
Yes.
I mean, like needs, I think getting the elderly more involved, you know, the newsletter and stuff like that. I think that's important. And I think, obviously, the cyber threats are ongoing, constantly. The wants, you know, you would think the town center would be at the top of the list. You know, that's such a great place, and it could be so much more, I think. But I also like the employee wellness. I mean, I was an employee, you know, in the village for 25 and a half years, and I really like the idea of a wellness, because that's, our employees are our assets.
And that's the type of things that employees, you know, one of the goals are retention and
again,
getting
I'm
employees.
kind of
So
curious.
that's something people are going to be interested in.
And I'm kind of curious, you know, retain. I mean, is it because they're leaving because of retirement? Because we have a bunch of 30-year employees, you know, that they should enjoy themselves. You know, they did work. You know, I don't know many that would, like, are leaving just because they don't like
5
working
years,
here. Yeah. But yeah, the wellness, because I think our employees should be one of our top priorities.
I would agree with that, especially given the current situation with hiring being so difficult. Even if we're not having a problem now and we're having a lot of longevity and just retirements, it's still something you gotta keep your eye on that ball and focus on that and keep everybody happy, because a lot of people are struggling to find employees.
The employment world has absolutely changed.
Well, and that may not be a problem for the village right now, that we have.
But it could be 5 years from now.
But in a few
Exactly.
years, as these
Right.
30-year people start leaving, and we hate to see that institutional memory all, you know, leaving, but they've earned it.
Yeah, I hated leaving too.
We're gonna have to do things and, you know, try to get the best and brightest here.
Right.
I think one of the things we just did was put a program together for our police department to really show them that we appreciate what they do to get a 4-year contract. And tonight on the agenda was the MAP, which is our sergeants, which their contract isn't even up until April, and they already signed up for the same program because it's a good program, and we appreciate the police and their hard work. And that's our way of saying thank you to them. Pay them what they're worth and let them go out and make sure that they keep the people of Carroll Stream safe and the kids. That's really what it's all about for our police department.
And we plan on doing the same thing for
Absolutely.
other departments that are coming.
Absolutely. We'll be negotiating with Public Works soon, I guess. So that'll be coming up. So all of that will come up, and then the village, of course, the regular people that are not union will benefit by what we've put together. But there was no arm twisting or anything. We did what we did because we know that they deserve it, and we all came to a conclusion unanimously to give them a raise and go out for the 4th year, which I appreciate all the hard work that went in. What we're talking about here tonight is a strategic plan that we put together. We had a meeting and we talked about what do we want to see the village, where do we want to see the village go? What do we want to see happen at the town center? I mean, it was a good jam session where we had some wild ideas and some really good ideas and some not really, with having new trustees up here, we really wanted to, when we put this together, the idea was to get the input of the trustees that've been around plus the new trustees to see where we want to go with it. Where do we want to go with this town? We're not a Naperville, we're not a Schaumburg. You know, we don't have things that other people have. We can't do what they do because we don't have the base that they have and we don't have the taxes that they have. So we have to be very careful what we do and how we spend our money. Otherwise, we could end up in a lot of debt like other towns our size, which none of us want to see a lot of debt. None of us want to see, some of us don't want to see any debt, as far as I'm concerned. I like the way the village has been run. So some of these things might be, they look good on paper, they might be too costly. Some we'll be able to do without spending a lot of money. I like the idea of working on the strip malls because the strip malls are probably, and as trustee Geezer said, everything is changing. I mean, we have to look at some of the things that we said we didn't want to do and look at them now again. I mean, maybe we come back around and look at some different types of things for the strip malls. We have to keep those people full because then they can keep the place looking presentable. You notice on tonight, we had a liquor license go and a liquor license come. Well, 7-Eleven, the operator on Army Trail Road at the 7-Eleven and the gas station decided that they didn't want it anymore, and 7-Eleven took it over. So that liquor license went, and a new liquor license went in. Thank God, because if they didn't, then it would have just shut down. And we don't want another closed gas station in town. So, but I mean, those are things that we try to work with. We got new restaurants coming in that are exciting. I mean, one thing we found through the pandemic, people have to eat. They have to eat. The people with drive-through windows flourished. The people with quick run it out, Grubhubs, whatever all these places are, you order your food, they did good. It was the big plants that had to close down that couldn't keep going. But the small, independent, small operators in town were the ones that really kept that
Wheels
water
turning.
flowing. You know, and that's important, so. This is really great. When you look at what you've put together here, that was a conglomeration of all of our crazy ideas or good ideas. But that's the way you get things done. Now we just got to figure out what we could afford to do and what we can't afford to do. One of the things that came out of this is Tia and I had some conversation, and she's been phenomenal for me to work with. Some of the things we're going to do that are going to be more powerful than we haven't done in the past is work closer with the library, work closer with the park district. We're going to try and work closer with every other taxing agency that there is. Is that correct, Tia?
That is correct, and I've already had some preliminary conversations with some of the other taxing districts, and they're excited for us to look at opportunities that we can serve our community together and really streamline what we're doing. Because the truth is, each of these agencies has resources as well as connections with different segments of the population. And as we work together, I think we can create a better process and a better opportunity for our residents.
Want to try and work closer with the Rotary if we could, and the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is very important. I wish we could get more people out when we do ribbon cuttings. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem like it'll happen. We get our trustees come out, our staff comes out. I'm not sure why some other businesses don't go to when a new business opens up, not even in a competitive situation. You'd think that they would be there, but it's for some reason, maybe it's because of these masks we have to wear and because of the virus that's going around. Maybe people don't feel they want to be in crowds. I'm not sure what it is. All I know is we've been living in the last 2.5 years in a bubble that is created people to think different, act different, and be different. And in some cases, not very good. I mean, so we just we'll get through it. We're fine. Thank God we got a staff that we have and we got a board that we could sit and we talk. We may not always agree with each other, but we always come to a conclusion that's going to be good for the people. So let's get back on this. Any other questions on this? Most of this is all what we came up with, so.
I just have a question. The numbers indicate priority, right? So you would,
No, it's
No?
just, there just had to be an order for
okay,
flow purpose, but otherwise, no.
all right, because I was going to say under Goal 5, technology, item 3 to me, and I imagine to Mark as well, is becoming even more important. I mean, we just recently had vulnerabilities that were exposed worldwide, and I'm sure Mark was really working hard on it. Anybody involved with IT was working hard on it. So we really do need to make sure that we're as secure as possible from cyber threats.
So my understanding is that you want board, I guess, feedback in reference to what we want, what we don't want. Would it be better for you just to like send, or we do like 1 is the most important and 10 is not important, and then we mark them down and then give them to you, and then you average them out? I mean, how do you want us to do that?
Actually, it sounds like all these goals are important to the board.
Right.
Which is what I heard. You know, we're actually working on some of these already, and we've
Yeah,
been
that's what
working on some.
Trustee
Well, that's
Geezer
what I
had said
thought,
that
but
a number of them
like,
have dates.
What we need to do is refine some of the numbers, like for some of the events and activities at the town center. We'll refine those, get you some costs on them during the budget workshops.
Yeah, then it's easier to kind of say, okay, maybe we're stepping a little bit too deep in this direction or that direction. Because looking at it from here, my first answer is do it all.
and I mean,
because
we've been
one of
talking
the-
about this so for a while, and I don't know if we're really getting anywhere.
Yeah, I think we have our direction. You know, we'll refine the contract for economic development, you know, the market study, and we'll get those costs back to you. And
Because one of the things I brought up was that I would, and other board members as well, would like to see more use of the town center. And I brought up, and others, about holiday for Christmas, to have more lights. But, you know, as you're going to look at, you're gonna see what the actual prices of things are. But then other things are gonna pop up, like I've had conversations with staff already. You know, like the electrical system isn't really up to par for what we might need for that. And it isn't set up you know, so there's additional costs that you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah,
So these are, you know, as you go through these, it would be terrific to
those
get.
are things we'll investigate.
But
Exactly.
like the one resident said that was here, that one, he goes, you know, and then every year we'll do a little more. It's not like we have to,
Got to start somewhere.
You know,
Yeah, yep.
Hey, Bob, and this is, we were talking about town center and events. Didn't at some point we talk about having the electric actually moved from?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
And if we change it, that's what you guys, one of the things you guys will probably bring up, correct?
It will, that'll be one of the proposals when we work on the fountain.
Right, because I remember it had became an issue.
Well, it's a confined space entry, and there's only
Right.
limited companies that can do that.
Can do it.
Yes, yep,
So again, when
See, we
talk,
listen.
yes.
a lot of it's going to be based on what we could afford to do. I mean, if it's going to be outrageous to move the electricity and then we can't do nothing else, well, I mean, that would be
Then we gotta
senseless to do that.
rethink
So
it then,
we have to rethink it, or like somebody just said, this isn't going to happen overnight. We're going to do this in
Stages.
a little at a time to get it done. But we have a plan now, that's the thing. And we all felt the same way. There's no one that didn't feel like we don't underuse the town center. We do underuse the town center. We used to do a lot more at the town center. Now, we got to go back to bringing people together. The town center, in my opinion, and I know a lot of you feel the same way, is the heart and soul of this community. We have no downtown, so the town center, when that was constructed before I was even on the board, that was Ross Ferrero's idea and some of the residents, that would be the focal point, the meeting point, the get-together, everybody. Bob, you were here back then. Cleveland, you were here back then. I mean, so some of you's been around that long, that was the place to bring everybody together.
It's our downtown. like you
Our
said.
it basically is our downtown, which is exciting because another space in there finally, after all these years that's been empty, is now have another restaurant going in. So it may be ended up that'll be our restaurant row with all of everything at that end of town. For some reason, everything seems to be moving down Schmale and down through the industrial park. And I think having an industrial park that's 20 million square feet, I think draws restaurants, especially once people can go to lunch, go in after work, pick something up and take it home. I can't even believe some of the orders that are just up on the counter that people walk in, grab them and go home.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a good thing, and it might be even better as we move along here. We got some really nice, quick, fast food places coming in that are different than what we're used to having.
Change the pace.
I want to
think the
go
one
back
thing
to
we
the,
gotta remember when it comes to the town center, though, when we bringing on new, or bringing back some of the stuff we used to do, is it's probably gonna take a couple of years to rebuild that base of people who come. You know, the first ones we have may not be very well attended, but we have to be willing to say, we gotta let people know, we gotta communicate, we gotta get it out, and people have gotta word of mouth and everything else. I mean, that's what happened with a lot of those. It became word of mouth that, hey, the Mother's Day breakfast, the last couple of years was pretty well attended. You go back a few years before that, and it wasn't. I mean, it was a word of mouth. So I think we just all have to keep in mind that it won't be a 1 year,
Yeah.
and it'll go from, a few people to thousands of people in one shot.
See, what we gotta remember, when you talk about Mother's Day breakfast, we had a tent out there that cost how much, Bob?
A lot.
Thousands, tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
I just use that for an example.
But I
didn't
mean,
to-
but when we had Oktoberfest, we had the tent to
It was already
build.
up.
So I mean, a lot of the events that we did have were under the tent, because then if you get inclement weather, you can bring in blowers to put in hot air, you could blow in cold air. I mean, there's things that you could do. Take the side curtains off, put them back on, I mean, but with that's a problem. We have no shelter there. And we can't build a permanent shelter. That's what the pad was put there for, that big asphalt pad, that was where the tent used to be. Though, a lot of people that moved to town don't even know that we ever had a tent down there, because they never seen it. So, I mean, we have to be careful of what we want to have. How do we do it and not be able to have shelter in case we
Why
get
can't we?
bad weather? Why can't we?
A permanent. I'm just wondering, you say we can't do a permanent structure there, why not?
Well,
I mean, I know cost and
well, I
obvious
would think
reasons,
that,
but-
and I don't know what the cost would be, but if we could look into it, but you gotta remember, when we built this building out, we could have went and built this building out a lot bigger and put it on empty property in Carroll Stream that's available, but we didn't do that. So
Understood.
to build a building at the town center, to do 5 events a year and spend $10-15 million to build a building, I don't know what the cost would be, and I'm not sure they even want to look into it, to be honest with you. A tent would be probably, if we were going to do anything, a tent could go up and come back down again. I mean, it's an investment you make, but then again, you have to have enough things planned to use that tent.
Correct, then you build up to that, like you said. I mean, you start
Right.
small and you
There
build
was,
up.
when the tent was up, there was supposed to be weddings in the tent. There was, a Park District was gonna be able to do weddings. They were gonna have, we were doing stuff with the alcohol licensing for people that were gonna have weddings. There was a lot of things that were gonna be, but never came to fruition.
Yeah, I guess the question is that the business of village government to provide wedding venues? A lot of this stuff is recreational, which is Park District venue. And, I just remember when we purchased the tent, it was very expensive. And every year, you.
It was very
rip it
expensive to
down,
put up and tear
put up.
down each year,
Yes,
too.
it was. And then ultimately, it starts cracking, after a certain number of years because of the UV. Yeah, it just wasn't feasible anymore, and we ultimately sold it.
Because we're better off if we're gonna do something like that, would be just rent it per season, wouldn't we?
Yes, yeah.
Let somebody else worry about having to.
Well, and they're in the business to do that, yep.
Right.
I know I was very happy to see all the ideas around the town center on here, because as you guys know, I don't want to pick favorites, but, it's something that I feel is important. All of this is important, and I want to thank you guys for taking that couple hours of brainstorming and making sense out of it and being able to put it on paper, by the way, because that's not an easy task. But the way I think of the town center is if somebody did a Google image search on Carroll Stream, that's hard to say with a mask on, I would love just to see all these different events popping up at town center. 4th of July concerts and different events that we've talked about even in the previous meeting. So because we don't have that downtown, the more we can do there, the more we can enhance it, the more it does for the image of our village, and that just helps everything.
We did have a significant number of suggestions for additional events at the town center. Would you like us to go through those and put together a list that staff feels that we can do in the coming year?
Yeah.
And you can review that and
That'd be awesome.
let us know what you think? Okay.
I like the idea that, of the additional effort to cooperate with the Park District. I mean, there's got to be something good that comes out of that.
Yeah.
Because we have the resources and the expertise.
We're all
Wait.
separate taxing bodies, but you know what? We're all for the people that live in this town. And we have to find a better way to work together, to use all the assets that we have. We got one of the most beautiful Park District buildings probably in maybe DuPage County. It's new, it's beautiful, the grounds are nice. We share the parking lot with them. I mean, we have a library director that, in my opinion, may be one of the best library directors we've ever had. I mean, in a long time. She really cares. She saved a lot of money and did a beautiful job putting that together. She stepped up for Christmas with the reindeers that they had paid for, that she said, and gave us those to come out for people to take pictures with them. I mean, she didn't have to do that. She did that, and it started to think, we really don't work together the way we should. Everybody, there was a time when we approved the taxing bodies and we had trustees that we go, wait a second, we want to make sure that's not us raising the taxes, it's the library raising the tax. Well, it's like, okay, but nothing is free. Nothing's cheap and nothing's free anymore. Everything comes at a cost. So whatever you want, you got to remember, you got to put a cost to it. Some things sound good and really they would be great, but you got to look at what's the use you're going to get out of it if you're going to spend the money. What's the capital going to cost to get back? What's your return? I'm not looking to charge people to come to the concerts, but I think that we have to look at what we're doing here. A lot of towns, like, don't want to mention any names, charge to park cars, they charge for a lot of different things. You don't go to Ribfest for free. But we're not 140,000 people either. But we have to be careful how we spend our money. And I don't want to sound like the Grinch that stole Christmas, but to me, I like the ability to be able to sit up here and say, we have no debt, everything we own's paid for, and we have money in the bank. And there ain't many towns that could say that, I have to tell you. I think a lot of the people that are in this town really appreciate what the work is done by our staff and what's done by this board. So I know I appreciate it living here as long as I have, so. Any other questions?
But I do think that's a good start, Bob. Give
Yeah.
us an idea of what it would cost to do some of the things that we've talked about.
Sure, yep.
Well, and I hate to have to put a price tag on everything, but,
That's what it is.
we may end up spending some money on some of these things, and that's not, the idea is that we are gonna spend some money on some of these things.
The right money.
The right way. The right way that everybody that lives in this town will benefit by it. And that's really what it's all about. I don't want to build something and then have people come from 16 other towns and half the people that are there, three-quarters of them don't even belong to Carroll Stream, they come. Thursday night concerts, think back, we were the first ones, I believe, to put a Thursday night concert together, and it was, next thing you knew, one town did it, then another town did it. No, I'll pick Thursday nights. How stupid is that? I mean, really, when you
Bands are
think about
cheaper
it.
on Thursday.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, and after all of that, Sunny Acres, which was changed hands, decided to do a concert series on Thursday nights.
And
Next
charge,
year is Friday.
and charge for them.
And charge.
Next year is Friday, they say.
Next year it's Friday? Well, thank God, because that was, I mean, really, we're competing with each other. Then is that such a bad thing? Because Addison has a car show and a concert. It got so big, they had to move the car show across Lake Street into where all the stores are at. A lot of people were upset about that, but it is those are the things that you have to put up with. You know, they're getting all kind of complaints, they should have the cars where the band's at. Well, that ain't gonna happen anymore, because the people that come to listen to the music got no place to park. So, I mean, those are the things we have to look at, those are the things that we have to make sure we don't create a problem with.
But, and again, I understand what you're saying, but if we draw people in, they will eat at our restaurants, they will gas up at our gas stations, they will, so I have no problem drawing people in to our concerts, because that draws people into Carroll Stream, and we might be drawing new residents in. You know what I'm saying? They see how our community is.
Or business owners.
It might be, you know, better for our businesses, better for our gas stations, better for, you know, maybe future residents. We were drawing them in, because many people don't know what Carroll Stream's all about, and maybe they will see.
Well, that was the plan, that is the plan, and was the plan, to have the town center. Unfortunately, if you look at all the stores that are in there, in the restaurants,
I
where
understand.
Bulldog's is, how many people went broke before Bulldog's finally made some money in there?
Understood, yeah.
I mean,
That's why the Garion lies, we have some vacant land that's, in my opinion, prime for a business to come in and.
That's what we've hoped for a long time.
And I get it, but
you get it, we all get it. Thank you. It was great working with all of you through this whole process again.
Absolutely.
You know, especially the new trustees, the three new trustees looking at, I mean, John, you've never been through one of these before, so to have three new people looking at it with ideas creates a lot more of what's in here than what the four of us that have been up here for a long time created, so.
And I really love the one night thing versus.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you go back, new guys, we had a couple times that it was over the course of 3 days, three
Yeah.
nights. And it gets silly because you end up with, start throwing stuff out there that there's no reason to time-wise. So I kind of liked that we did it in the one night. We were able to narrow it down pretty quickly and come up with a consensus of what to work on.
Well, and what I didn't want to do, and we talked about it, we don't want to load the staff down with a whole bunch of paperwork and crazy ideas that aren't going to ever come to fruition, to tell us it's going to cost $8 million to do this if you want to do it. I mean, it's like, that ain't going to ever happen. I mean, it just isn't going to happen. So, but what's realistic? I think there's a lot of realistic things on here that we could do, reasonable, and make everybody happy at the same time. So,
Very good.
good, we'll work through. Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so then we report officers? We have to, huh? Right? Huh? Yeah, report officers, okay. Trustee Berger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to congratulate the winners and all the participants for the holiday decorating. I love driving around town, seeing all the lights, and I always think of myself as, you know, maybe not quite a Clark Griswold because I know where everything's plugged in. But I do have the power strips like attached to the front of the house to handle everything, but I always think of myself as a good decorator, and then I drive around town and realize I gotta get more lights and more things. So congratulations to the winners, and thank you to everybody who puts up lights and decorates our town for the holidays. I want to wish everybody a happy new year, a safe and healthy new year. would like to wish continued healing for Trustee Fruzaloni, and I would like to wish Trustee Geezer a happy birthday.
Oh, I see you beat me to it. Happy birthday.
I like going first.
I was going to ask everybody to sing.
I could say everybody copies off of me. And with that, I'll end my report.
Thank you.
Well, he did steal my thunder. He said everything I was going to say.
I stole your
Imagine
notes.
we're all going to do that. But I'll add my congratulations to the decorating award winners, and I am also looking forward, and I wish for everyone in the village to have a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. And we miss you, Barry.
Trustee Garvey. Trustee Zalick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congrats to the winners of the decorating contest, and thank you to staff and all the residents that put an effort to decorate the town, because it just makes everybody in a better mood, I think. Going on that, I was watching TV, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to see a lot of seize the awkward moment, talk about suicide. And a lot of people at this time of year get depressed, and I love the idea that mainstream media is finally seizing the awkward moment and telling everybody to reach out. You don't have to say a lot, but if someone looks or appears to be bothered or just quiet, not themselves, reach out and say, we need to start taking care of each other, because I think we just need to. I mean, especially now where we're at, I think it's important that reach out to a friend that might be struggling with their mental health. Rotary Club is having a coat drive, so bring your new and gently used coats to the police department lobby before the 28th of January. And Happy New Year, and keep all the first responders and military in your thoughts and prayers. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Zalick. Trustee Geezer.
Thank you. I too would like to say Happy New Year to everyone. Let's hope that 2022 is a little better than the last few years. So. Also, thank you to all who won and decorated their homes for the decorating contest. This time of year, it's so nice to see all the houses decorated, and, not to make light to what Trustee Zalick said about mental health, but at this time of year, as the lights go down, I know I do personally, you kind of get the blues a little bit because they're all coming down. So I appreciate what you had to say about that. But thank you to everyone for lifting the spirits of our community during the month of December. I'd like to also congratulate, and we did this earlier, Gabriel Murcia for jumping to the challenge to become a member of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioner. And today, I want to thank Trustee Berger for mentioning my birthday. But this week, there is also another birthday that we can all be very, very happy about. And without this birthday, none of us would be sitting here. On January 5th, 1959, the village of Carroll Stream was founded. It was on that day that Judge William Guild canvassed an election that took place. There was a special election on December 27th of 1958 to decide if the residents wanted to incorporate. A little bit earlier, on November of 1958, 40 residents of the village, of what would become the village, it was just an unincorporated area, called Carroll Stream Estates. They filed a petition with the county to incorporate as a village. On the December 27, 1958 election, we talk about poor election turnouts now. 47 people voted, but again, there were so few here. 46 voted in favor of becoming the village of Carroll Stream. 1 voted against. 1. No one's ever been able to, we don't know that name. We don't know that name. And then, as I mentioned, the judge canvassed the election results, and on January 5th, Carroll Stream became DuPage County's newest municipality. The first election of a village president was then held later in the month on January 31st of 1959, and the first village board meeting was held on February 12th of 1959. So this is big for the village of Carroll Stream. This is a big thing that we should recognize at the very minimum by talking about it now. So happy birthday, happy 63-year-old birthday. A couple more years, the village will be able to retire.
Yeah, some more years.
Yeah. So, but that is my report. Again, Happy New Year to everyone. 2022 is going to be the one.
Trustee Geezer, I want to thank you for bringing that up, because you always seem to bring back all the stuff that happened in this town, being you were born and raised here, and your dad and mom are still here, and your brothers are here. I mean, I think that's great that you keep all that memory, to keep that going. I did not realize that, I know we were incorporated in 59,
Yeah.
but didn't put that date together.
Well, it's really important and I think most of us, to certain degrees, will agree that, having a memory of the history of where we came from is important. Not for the nostalgia factor. I mean, that's great to look back. Oh, it was so great when you could do this, and you can't do that now. But to set the course, it's like, here, we did this, but now look at the great things we have done. We've got this beautiful town center. We're quibbling over, we need to do more. But think of all the great things we have done for years and years and years. When you go back in the day when there wasn't a park district, and moms and dads had to get together and say, you know what, we want the kids to play baseball, or we want a skating rink. So you know what, they flooded a field, and you skated.
Don't say that now.
Again, we can talk community development, the things you could do then that you can't do now. It's like, let's put a development in a peat bog. Okay, so, but I think it's important for us to remember where we came from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Trustee McCarthy?
I want to thank Gabriel for stepping up. It's important to have our community involved with the process of our day-to-day government, and being on the police commission is huge. As Trustee Geezer had said, that's where our police officers come from. That's where they get hired through, tested through. So it's a big deal, and we all appreciate you stepping up and doing it. The winners of the decorating contest, congratulations. It was fun driving around this year again. It seems like, especially these last couple of years, people have kind of went out of their way to put up a few more lights and a few more decorations, and it's been fun to see. And it seemed like this year, especially, people's moods were a little bit better around the holidays. A lot more smiles and Merry Christmases and Happy New Years and Happy Holidays than it seems like in the past few. So that was nice this year. I'd like to keep it going year round. We should all smile a little more, be a little bit more friendly, reach out to each other a little bit more, and remember all the good stuff, not just to find a way to argue. We need to stay away from that. It's getting, this January, February tends to slow things down, and people kind of burrow away. So it's a good time to, especially as Trustee Zalick talked about the uncomfortable conversations of depression. This is a good time to reach out and say, hey, let's meet up. Hey, I was thinking about you, want to chat, stop in, whatever. It's just a good time to reach out to people. It's especially, like I said, after the holidays, it just seems like that dead spot in the year, and let's find a way to make it a little bit better. Speaking of the dead spot in the year, after talking to Chrissy's and talking to a couple of our sponsors, we will have our bags tournament this year. It is on. Dates will come. I'll get the dates out in the next week or so. It's still going to be, unfortunately, just the way things are. Things can vary from night to night, but we're going to try to do it. We're going to try to do it as we always do it. Could use a few more volunteers, new guys. So It's a fun event. We've had a lot of good luck with it, and we are also moving forward of hitting our local charities. It's not just going to be Relay for Life. It's going to be a handful of, it's going to be a handful of charities that directly impact people of Carroll Stream. That's the one rule our committee has. It has to have some kind of impact on somebody in Carroll Stream. Relay will still get the lion's share, but we thought the sharing of it locally 2 years ago worked out just fantastically, and we want to carry that forward. So I'm excited that we'll be announcing some dates and some times and everything else, and hopefully Bob and Tia, we can maybe even get back to doing our village staff night, depending on how everything is. I understand that, so we'll talk. But besides that, Happy New Year. As again, Trustee Geiser said, let's make it a good one, and let's keep it a good one. So with that, I'll end my report.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Tia, do you have anything?
Just a happy new year and looking forward to making this year even better.
Very good, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Same as everybody else, wishing everybody a happy new year. Happy birthday, Trustee Geiser, and thanks again for continuing to coordinate the holiday decorating contests. It really does bring a lot of positivity to Carroll Stream, no pun intended, and also to all the staff that are so helpful in keeping that process going. The maps are just incredible to be able to drive around and see that. So thanks for all that, and everybody, please remember to support your local businesses. Greg and I tried to make it a point to go to all the different Carroll Stream restaurants, and recently went to John and Tony's, where they have this new Happy
Hen Cafe.
open. Yes, and we had breakfast there to celebrate the new year, and I had the Carroll Stream omelet, and it was delicious. So on that note, I just want to remind everyone to please do shop and dine in Carroll Stream. That's all I have.
You know, you brought the restaurants up, and I don't think a lot of people realize, unless you've been in a restaurant business or close to someone, how many employees it takes to run a restaurant the size of some of these restaurants, especially the ones that are open for lunch, dinner, and then open until maybe midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. It could take a staff of 60 or 70 people.
Yeah,
Most of those people usually live in the area, and a lot of them work part-time for extra money to keep their families going. So that's what's so important about trying to keep with the local businesses, and you know, the support is very important, so thank you again for bringing that up.
Of course.
Mr. Rhodes, our village attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I have is my congratulations to Mr. Murcia and to Trustee Geiser, and to wish everyone a very happy new year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, village manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to tag along on to what Trustee Zalig's comment on mental health. I was reading an article this morning from the New York Times. It stated that many are experiencing mental health problems brought on by isolation, and American blood pressures has risen over the past few years. Suicides have increased. Drug overdoses have soared. As we complete the second year of the pandemic, which has caused a certain amount of stress, anxiety, and despair, I want to remind our residents that the village has a fully staffed social services unit with 3 licensed professional social workers that can confidentially meet and talk with you and help you through a crisis you may be experiencing. Their number is 630-871-6280. It's also on our website, and they also speak Espanol. So if anybody is feeling stressed out, needs somebody to talk to in confidence, our social workers are great. They run the Christmas sharing program, among other charitable things they do throughout the year, and they don't get enough credit for what they do. Thank you, Trustee Geiser, for reminding me. I was one year old when Carroll Stream was incorporated. Feeling older. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Gabriel Lucia, thank you for joining us on the Police and Fire Commission. That's very important. as somebody said, who we hire is very important. That's the last screening process, I believe, that we have that goes through. So that's very important to get the right people in the right place. So that's good. Trustee Geiser, happy birthday, as usual. Always a pleasure sitting next to you. I was, earlier in the week, and I know there's a lot of people that are very touchy on the subject of who gets a shot, who don't get the shot, who's sick and who's not sick. All I can tell you is that I happened to be at the hospital on Monday, and I couldn't believe how many people were in the emergency room. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in the emergency room, but this was over the top ridiculous. I mean, the line was going out the door waiting to get in the emergency room. It wasn't just the virus. It was a combination of so many things, from car accidents. And, you know, being the mayor and being around and living here for 45 years, a lot of people use that hospital, and they all know who I am. I'm in there, and it's like, but I wasn't in there for me. But it's like, I don't even want to get near them because I don't know why they're in there. You know, and I got a wife that's kind of vulnerable with her immune system, so, I mean, it's heartbreaking to see what actually goes on around you. That if I wasn't in there, I wouldn't know, that there was a dozen people in there at least. And of course, we were in there for like 9 hours, 8 hours, and 9 hours, whatever. Feel bad for them. A husband and wife arguing over a car accident, and who's going to get the kid, and it's like, I got to get between them, and it's like, that's not what I want to do. But that's the world we live in today. Everybody is like, I had a guy pass me on Fair Oaks Road, driving, no, chief, I was going 45 instead of 35. And he went around me, and ordinarily I'd went after him and tried to get the license plate number, and I thought, you know what? It ain't even worth it. Let him go. I mean, but that's all the years that I've driven on that road, no one's ever gone around me. I mean, we set that speed limit at 35 for a reason. But people get out there and they go crazy. I mean, and that's, today, I don't know what it is. It's no matter where you go. I mean, my neighbor, thank God, we have a community of people that like each other. I mean, I'm afraid to leave sometimes Carroll Stream. I don't know what I'm going to run into when I get out there. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in right now. And I feel bad for the young people because the kids, this is confusing for them. I mean, what they're seeing, everybody going through having to wear a mask. I hate wearing a mask. My eyes never stop watering. You know, I mean, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. My biggest concern right now is I'm watching what's happening in Cook County, and I hope that we don't push that issue here. A lot of people get very angry when you ask them for their vaccine card, and next thing you know, we're going to have problems. We don't want problems. So, I mean, I pray every night that this whole virus situation would go away, and it ain't working. I mean, I could keep praying. I think everybody's praying for the same thing, or asking whoever if you believe in God or you don't believe in God, there's got to be something. This can't continue to go on the way it is. And that's, Bob, you mentioned our social service department. Christmas sharing is a small thing to what they do working with the police department, the domestic violence stuff. I don't ever want anybody that lives in this town to feel like they're alone. And I think that's always been how we felt as a board in the police department. Feel like you got somebody you could pick up the phone and call. You know, if you've got problems, pick up the phone and call. Bob, you gave the phone number. They can walk in the village hall, walk in the police department, and tell them, I need help with something. I have a child that's this. I have a mother that's that, a father that does this. Or never feel like you're alone. And we can't reach out to people and create things, but if they have a problem, at 30, how many years have we had a social service department? 30?
Ever since I've been here, which is 40.
73 or 74, yeah.
I mean, we've had a social service department before most towns ever knew what it was. So somebody was way ahead of all of us as far as what we needed to keep our residents happy.
Gil Watson, I think, was the first, the one that initiated the whole thing.
Really?
Yep.
Did a good
He still
job.
lives in the area.
Really?
I think so.
Well,
in
and see,
Naperville.
that's important, because I always say, it's about the people. It's always about the people. And that's what we are about, is the people in Carroll Stream. So any way we could help to help them and make their life a little easier, or maybe make it a little more sane, instead of the crazy world we live in today, I appreciate everything that they do in social services. And when you do their budget, make sure that they have whatever they need to work with, because that's important. Bob?
Got
There's
that?
no one here, so I'm just going to tell you.
Chief,
And-
you heard that, right?
And I've said that, remember, Chief, I said that. I've tried to talk to some of the department heads about that. Don't go too shy on what you need for this next year. If you think that you need a little bit more money, put it down, let us decide if you should get that money or not, but don't be afraid to ask for it. We've never had that problem in the past, but I don't want to have that problem. If you think you need more money to get things done, Tia, you and I have had this conversation, put the money in there, and then we'll figure out what we could afford to do, and we'll do it. But don't just think that you only got this little bit to work with, when you could have a little bit more to work with and maybe accomplish a lot more. And that goes for everybody, all our departments. So we just want to get the most done with the least amount of money, and we do that. We find a way to do that all the time. So, and thanks to the staff, the conversation about who pulls the garbage and who does everything. And, I mean, there's Thursday nights where we're out there and we do all the work. It's like staff does all the work. You know, we don't pay public works guys to be out there pulling garbage cans and doing that. The volunteers do a lot of the work. So that's how we get a lot of things done. But, you know, we're all getting to that age now where, I hate to say that, but pulling garbage cans at 10 o'clock at night don't do me any good anymore. So it's a little, and for Bob, I'm not going to speak for you or for anybody else, you know, but it's just, it's a whole different world that we live in now. So, and we managed to get through that world in the right way, and I appreciate all that yous have done. 2021 is in the rearview mirror. I want to thank all of you for the work that you've done. Everybody from our village attorney that's kept us straight and narrow and, you know, keep us from getting in trouble, and village manager and our staff and everybody. 2021 was a rough year. We went into a rough year, and we come out of that rough year in pretty good, decent shape, and I want to appreciate it. I can't say enough about Public Works, the jobs that you do. I look out my window and I could see my street after all that snow that just fell and all that wind blowing. There's a lot of towns that can't say that they can see their streets right now. So thank you, Phil, for all the work that you do. So, other than that, I think that we should adjourn this meeting. We're no closed session or anything? So, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in
Second.
favor? We need to take a roll call?
I can take a roll call.
What? Are you here? Shop Carroll Stream, that's what you said.
Carroll Stream.
Aye.
Should I do a roll call? Attorney Brooks? Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Garvey.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
No.
Passes anyway.
Meeting's adjourned.
4-1.